Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a horror film from 2009. That movie is The Collector, and I wish I could tell you anything about this movie. I didn't bother to watch the trailer. I didn't bother to read the back of the Blu-ray cover. I just know that people really want me to cover this one and possibly the sequel. I'm not even going to consider the sequel until I see if this sucker is any good. The only thing I can really tell you about it, because this is in big bold letters on the front cover, is that this is from the same people who wrote Saws 4, 5, and 6. And no offense to those people, but if I had to pick the weakest entries in the Saw franchise, what do you know? I'd go with Saws 4, 5, and 6 because they just weren't as good as the others. So I'm going to assume, just off of that loud proclamation on the front cover, I'm in for something that's probably going to be a little bit, mediocre to possibly shit, because I still remember how bad Saw 5 was. I have no clue. I really wish I could tell you more, guys. I have no idea if this thing is going to be any good at all. I don't know if there's going to be anything interesting in here. The only way, guys, I'm going to find out if this sucker has any merit at all is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The Collector. Well, guys, I'd really love to say that this movie's fascinating and interesting and all of that, but, not really, no. We have not been greeted to a single interesting character. There's really nothing driving this plot forward outside of, oh, this dude's in debt real fucking bad. And, the fact that that is the only thing we have after almost 20 minutes of movie, that tells me that this sucker's off to a really slow fucking start, and I'm not sure if it's going to get any better anytime soon. I certainly hope so, though. Otherwise, the next, 70 minutes or so is gonna really fucking suck. Guys, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm really not too thrilled with all of the traps that this killer's been able to plant in this house. Okay, well, the bear traps are kind of a nice, touch. The room full of bear traps. But, that's one interesting trap. I have a question. How the fuck was this lunatic able to plant all of this? And our little burglar dude here didn't notice a single one of them as he was coming in to break into the safe. Oh, but a scant few minutes after, that, all of a sudden, the place is loaded as if Kevin fucking McAllister is off of his meds. What the hell is going on here? I'm sorry, guys, this movie is just not that interesting. In fact, it's kinda dull. So, one of our victims is getting her lips sewn, shut. That would probably be interesting if I gave a fuck about the character, if they gave us any reason to care about the character. If this movie made any effort to flesh out our characters, make anything interesting, that whole scene with her getting her lips sewn shut might actually have meant something. Unfortunately, because this movie's made no effort to characterize anybody here, they've made no effort to make anything interesting or fascinating, what we are left with is a woman getting her lips sewn shut and no reason to care. I swear to God, guys, I can't wait for this boring goddamn movie to fucking end. It sucks in ways I didn't even think this thing could suck. I know that this is from the guys who wrote Saws 4, 5, and 6, and I know the faults and failings to those, but at least those are at least watchable. As bad as they are, they're fucking watchable. This is shit. Jesus Christ, I hate this fucking movie. Guys, I would not have a problem with all of the gore and all the other pointless, stupid bullshit if there was at least an interesting story around it. This has barely any fucking story at all. I have no reason to care about any of these goddamn characters. frankly, and frankly, even the gore is, fucking terrible, amateurish garbage. Our camera work sucks. Our lighting is even worse. God damn. I want this fucker to end, and I want it to end right the fuck now. But I think I've got about 20 minutes left, and Jesus Christ, that is going to be a long 20 minutes. Well, guys, that was The Collector. Thank fuck this god-awful, retarded goddamn movie is done. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ. I was not expecting it to be that bad. Holy hell. Okay, let's try to work through this. Alright, let's start with the writing. While I said that Saws 4, 5, and 6 are certainly the weakest three in that franchise, I still expected a little something from a movie where their big advertising pitch is that it's from the writers of Saws 4, 5, and 6. I was expecting something decent. Because even the bad Saw movies at least have pacing which is decent, characters who are properly fleshed out, a reason to care about everything going on, or, well, a reason to care about anything going on in the fucking movie. The Saw movies, be they good or bad, were written with a heavy story focus, and this doesn't have that. Within the first 20 minutes, the only thing that we have fucking established is our main character, fuck was his name? Arkin, I think? Arkin is in debt, and the loan sharks want the money by fucking midnight, and apparently the only way to do that is for him to break into a house he's been working on and steal some fucking gem out of a safe. Okay, it took them 20 minutes to build up that. I had to struggle to remember the guy's name, and I could be totally fucking wrong. Hang on, because it's probably written on the back of the Blu-ray case. Yes, Arkin. So, Arkin's breaking into this house in order to steal a giant fucking gem. Suddenly, he hears a key enter a lock downstairs. And within the, 2 minutes or so, 2, maybe 3 minutes, between hearing that and working his way downstairs, our psycho has broken into the house, changed every single lock, boarded up every fucking window, and has set up more Home Alone style traps than should be possible if given 2 hours, much less 2 minutes. And yeah, and so basically now he has to try to avoid all of these traps. He decides he's going to try to save the family who the killer's going after. The killer has no known fucking motivation. He comes walking in, he's wearing all black, he's wearing a fucking luchador mask that looks like it's made of human fucking skin. It probably is supposed to be made of human fucking skin. He has no reason to be. He has no fucking motivation. We had no reason to be fucking afraid of this goofus outside of the fact that his eyes glow fucking blue like a fucking cat's at night. Seriously, guys, if there's almost no fucking light and then he looks at you, his eyes have this bluish shine on them. Again, very similar to a cat or Riddick in those shitbag Riddick movies. Just that is it for our killer's depth. Arkin's friggin' depth goes as far as he's breaking into the house because fuck you, debt, and the family is just there to fucking die. That's seriously the whole of this. Our characters are shallow and lifeless. There is not a single reason to care about any of them. Not a single character in this film is built up. The only one who you might feel compelled to fucking care about is the family's kid. And the movie's basically playing up, oh, well, she's just a kid and she's young and innocent. That really is her entire personality, is she's young, she's innocent, and she's a kid, so yeah, it would be really terrible and scary and frightening and ooh if she were to die. I'm not going to give a fuck about that. Guys, one thing that normally makes me one thing that normally sort of creeps me out in movies is when harm comes to animals, especially things like cats and dogs. This movie tried to do both by killing a cat and setting a fucking dog on fire. I didn't give a shit about either of them. I was that bored when both of those scenes hit. This movie gives you no reason to care about anything. You have no reason to give even the slightest inkling of a fuck about what happens here. So when Arkin walks towards a door and notices that there's this crisscross cob fucking web of filament wire which will shred him if he tries to walk through it, you really aren't going to care. When you see an entire room that is full of bear traps, you're gonna barely care. When he walks into a room upstairs and it's got fishing hooks just all hanging everywhere, you're not going to care. When he finds this stairway and like the stairs are covered in nails and screws, you're not going to give a shit. Really, guys, everything is there for the sake of being there, and it apparently is for people who just want to see a whole lot of gore, but really don't give a fuck about plot or substance or pacing. And in fact, also the gore is even hindered by the pacing, because if this film was supposed to focus entirely on blood and gore, it takes way too long to get from kill to kill. So that means that even the brain dead gore hounds who might be watching this are going to find themselves bored as they wait for the next lack fucking luster kill. Our kills in this movie are incredibly dull, and most of that is because of how they were fucking written. Now, some of it also has to do with the fact that the blood and the gore itself is cheap as shit. A lot of it has to do with the fact that the camera work sucks. But really, guys, the writing of all of this, the fucking writing for our characters, the writing for our story, our pacing, everything, all of that is what completely destroys this movie, and it just turns it into a mindless, brain-dead gore film for mindless, brain-dead gore fucking hounds. And if that honestly is you, rock on. Okay, you're probably going to like this, minus the oftentimes 20-minute wait to get from one kill to the fucking next. Good God, man, when I go into a horror movie, guys, I want at least a fascinating story. Saw gave us a fascinating story. Hostel gave us a fascinating story. This thing gave us bullshit for 90 fucking minutes. Alright, so, I know I could sit here and I could talk about the writing even more, but really, I would just probably be hitting the same points again and again and again about how we have all of these traps, which apparently took the killer all of 2 fucking minutes to fucking set up, which makes zero goddamn sense. Now mind you, guys, I really don't want to hear, perhaps honestly, the killer broke in and had hours to fucking set up, and Arkin was just dicking around upstairs for hours hiding. Unfortunately, the movie puts a very strict time fucking limit on this, because the loan sharks who Arkin has to pay off demands their money by midnight. He shows up at the house around 10 p.m. and the movie ends at midnight. So everything here is, he shows up around 10, maybe 10 fucking 30. So this whole movie's almost in real time. So it literally took our killer 2 minutes to, once more, change every single lock, board up every single window, and set up all of these stupid fucking traps. It took him that long to find the family, tie them up, torture them, set them up for whatever the hell, evils he was setting up for. 2 minutes. I dare anybody to board up even one window in 2 fucking minutes, much less board up every goddamn window in a 2-story home. So, yeah, writing here is fucking awful. It's, Jesus. I would say that the writing for this movie is literally retarded, but that would be a horrendous insult to the fucking mentally handicapped, because even they could have come up with something better than this. Okay? Let's just leave that at that. Let's touch on the other problems which this movie has. Acting. Well, when the cast has to look at the script and they see that it's lifeless bullshit for 90 minutes, of course they have nothing to work with. So nobody here really fucking tries. Even when our characters have to scream, when our characters are being tortured and they're screaming, it still doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound fucking believable. Do you know how bad you have to fuck up in order to fail at screaming? I honestly didn't even think that was a possibility. Our cast found a way to make it a fucking possibility. That is just sad, man. That is fucking pathetic on a level I didn't even think was possible. So the acting is terrible, but I'm gonna blame that more on the horrendous script which was handed to them. I would, if not for the fact that they fail at fucking screaming. That just shows that our cast is just crap straight up. And you could have handed them a decent fucking script and they would probably have still phoned it in and turned the whole thing into a massive turd. Okay, so acting here is shit, and as much as I'd love to blame the script, there are a handful of X factors in here that show me that it's just the fact that our cast sucks. Alright, so we have that. Gore. I've sort of tipped off earlier that the fucking gore in this movie is shit. Part of that has to do with the fact that the blood here seems a little bit too fucking thick. And when I say that, guys, I mean I have seen actual I've seen blood. I think all of us have seen blood, whether it be blood stained here or like coming out of a cut there. And you know that blood is kind of sort of thick and all that, but nobody's blood has the fucking consistency of maple fucking syrup. This movie, the blood all has the consistency of syrup. So, these people have ridiculously thick fucking blood, which comes off as horrendously unfucking natural. And as for everything else with gore, because we do have things like guts, and there actually is one character and he's like strapped into he actually was strapped into a chair, then he was strung up and he's been fucking disemboweled, so he has his like guts just hanging out of his massive gaping wound. Except the guts look kind of fake and kind of shit. Part of that might have been because of the lighting. I'll touch on lighting in a fucking moment. When they actually have to utilize a handful of these traps, specifically the room that's covered in bear traps, when a character finally falls into the bear trap room, and all these traps are like going off on him, and then one of them like goes off on his face. Apparently, instead of just using a dummy and just setting off a bear trap in order to crush the dummy head, it's the actor, and he like lays there, and then the bear trap like gently touches him. And then they put, like a whole bunch of blood around it in order to make it look nastier than it actually was. But it was a very, very gentle, closing trap, and it just didn't look fucking right. So, gore and special effects here are just fucking shit, straight up. There is no positive to be had in terms of special effects and gore. Let's talk about the lighting. I don't normally get to bitch about lighting very often in these things, but goddammit, this movie has given me ample fucking reason to bitch about lighting. Because half of this movie is lit with this about half of this movie is bathed in this horrendous piss fucking yellow lighting. And that is in certain rooms. Outside is sometimes colored like this. And mind you, everything which isn't bathed in this disgusting, nasty yellow piss colored lighting is bathed in this icy blue frickin' lighting, which also just doesn't make anything look, decent. There is no attempt at making anything here look good. Now, mind you, I know that a lot of horror films like to use orange fucking lighting in certain things, and that does sort of make things like blood and guts pop out. That works really, really well with orange lighting. With yellow, it just looks terrible. This movie is a perfect example of that. Jesus Christ. But seriously, guys, like every single scene is either bathed in yellow, or else it's bathed in blue, or there's almost no fucking lighting at all in order to show off the lightning outside better. So yeah, lighting here kind of sucks. Our sound mix also kind of suffers a bit. Because you will find scenes. This actually was noticeable very early on when two people find this like box in their fucking bedroom, and they're both talking behind the fucking camera, but there wasn't a boom mic over them, so you can tell that they're talking behind the camera. And just that whole scene, in terms of sound mix, was terrible. There are also a couple other scenes in the film where we have a really, really atrocious mix for sound. And that is things like muting fucking like stab wounds, which would probably be a fucking like Foley effect, but of course it's ultra muted and you can barely hear it. It's like all of that kind of shit, and that is like dispersed in small bits throughout the entire fucking movie, and it's just awful. There was no effort at making a decent sound mix here. There also was no effort at making a decent fucking score, because almost all of this music sounds like fucking noise. Instead of it actually being, something that could help attempt to build fucking tension, it essentially sounds as if somebody listened to about 30 seconds of Nine Inch Nails and Prodigy and said, hey, I can totally do that, and then proceeds to shit out, garbage that is absolutely unlistenable. So, oh my god, are there any positives to this movie? Well, I guess if I had to pick a positive, I'd say, well, at least it's only 90 fucking minutes. It could easily have been a 2-hour movie, and then I'd have had another half an hour of bullshit I would have had to sit through. But really, guys, this fucking movie is garbage. It is. And the fact that there's a sequel to this just fills me with no end of fucking dread. And before anyone asks, no, I am not watching the fucking sequel, because the first one sucked fucking plenty. I don't care what the hell they can possibly shovel out for a sequel. It's not going to be worth fucking watching. So can I recommend the fucking Collector? No. Hell no. I'm going to say this right now. Even people who are really into gore, you are going to hate the shit out of this thing, because there is so much time between kills. It's going to leave you bored. It's going to leave you bored, and it's going to leave you wishing you were watching something better. Frankly, I wish I had watched something better for the last 90 fucking minutes, but unfortunately I picked this. And the reason why I couldn't just say fuck it and shut it off is because the Collector came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was, I actually have the name written down here, Louise. I really wish I could give a, Facebook page or a YouTube channel or something. Unfortunately, Louise didn't give me anything like that, so I am just going to say to him, thank you. I had no idea if this movie was going to be any fucking good at all. I was certainly hoping for something decent, but unfortunately it was complete shit, and I wouldn't have known that, Louise, if you hadn't sent it in. Louise, I'm not sure. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right, dude. But anyway, I would not have known if you hadn't have sent it in, and for that I thank you. You're fucking awesome. Unfortunately, this movie is anything but awesome. Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? I just got a Blu-ray in the mail recently, and it's of the 1980s classic Chopping Mall. I'm gonna go watch that, because I remember that movie actually being decent. And this thing is going in the fucking garbage where it fucking belongs. Anyway, my friends, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.